Thank you, Professor Sakorn Mongkonsuk, the Dean of the Faculty of Science, Mahidol University, for the welcoming remark. May I now have an honor of inviting Dr. Uwe Morawetz, the Chairman of International Peace Foundation, to deliver a statement regarding the bridges, dialogues towards a culture of peace.
Your Excellency, Privy Councillor Professor Kasem Watanachai, ladies and gentlemen, friends, Sawadee Kap and welcome to the third ASEAN event series, Bridges, Dialogues Towards a Culture of Peace. Bridges is facilitated by the International Peace Foundation under the patronage of 21 Nobel Peace Laureates based in Vienna. The events are hosted in cooperation with various local partners and institutions, including some of the country's major universities. Since November last year, Bridges has been continuously held in Thailand, Cambodia, and the Philippines, involving the participation of Nobel Laureates and other eminent keynote speakers. The third ASEAN series of Bridges is an independent contribution to the Decade for a Culture of Peace and Nonviolence, which was initiated by the United Nations General Assembly. It follows the series of 350 Bridges events, which the International Peace Foundation has already hosted in Thailand, the Philippines, and Malaysia since 2003. The pluralistic program of Bridges highlights the International Peace Foundation's intercultural and transdisciplinary approach towards peace. The foundation does not take sides, but acts as a mediator by creating an independent platform for dialogue where representatives of science, politics, economy, culture, religion, the media, and youth can meet, share their viewpoints, listen to each other, and find mutual ways of understanding and cooperation. Therefore, the foundation itself is a bridge and a facilitator between different language groups in our divided societies, where politicians speak another language than scientists, and business and religious leaders another one than artists. In a highly interdependent world, problems cannot be solved by either one of these language groups only, but by working together. After the success of Bridges in Thailand, the Philippines, and Malaysia, the International Peace Foundation has now been invited by other ASEAN countries to build further bridges towards peace and international understanding by expanding its program in Southeast Asia to stimulate the intellectual, scientific, and cultural exchange in the region. The aim of Bridges is to facilitate and strengthen dialogue and communication between societies in Southeast Asia with their multiple cultures and faiths, as well as with peoples in other parts in the world, to promote understanding and trust. The events aim at building bridges with local universities and other institutions in Southeast Asia to establish long-term relationships with Nobel laureates in all fields, which result in common research programs and other forms of long-term collaboration. By enhancing science, technology, and education as a basis for peace and development, the events may lead to a better cooperation for the advancement of peace, freedom, and security in the region with the active involvement of the young generation, ASEAN's key to the future. This is why Bridges is not designed as a one-time event, but as a continuing process of synergies to make the series of events a sustainable success for Thailand, for Cambodia and the Philippines, and for Southeast Asia as a whole. I am grateful to the Faculty of Science at Mahidol University and its Dean, Professor Sakorn Mongkonsuk, as well as to our other partners and sponsors who have enabled us to make the idea of Bridges a reality. I would like to say thank you to everyone present today for taking part in this program. May it help us to facilitate a new culture of peace through dialogue, transcending its definition as merely the absence of war or armed conflict, into a new understanding what the basis for peace is: education. In this sense, we welcome today the 2008 Nobel Laureate for Medicine, Professor Francoise Barre-Sinoussi, who has agreed to come to Thailand to support the events. We all look forward to her keynote speech and to her important contribution to build bridges. ขอบคุณครับ
Thank you, Dr. Uwe Morawetz, the chairman of the International Peace Foundation. May I now have an honor of inviting His Excellency Professor Dr. Kasem Watanachai, the Privy Councillor, to deliver an opening speech and to present a flower bouquet to express an appreciation to the keynote speaker, Professor Francoise Barre-Sinoussi, for her invaluable time and her visit to Mahidol University, Faculty of Science. Your Excellency, please.
Professor Francoise Barre-Sinoussi, Professor Ponchai Matangkasumbat, the former president of Mahidol University, Professor Skon Mongkonsuk, Dean of Faculty of Science, Dr. Uwe Morawetz, Chairman of the International Peace Foundation, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is truly my pleasure and honor to be here and have the opportunity to make an opening remark on occasion of the Bridges Dialogues Toward a Culture of Peace event series that the International Peace Foundation co-organizes with Faculty of Science, Mahidol University today. Through the lecture series of Bridges Dialogues event, today we have a remarkable opportunity to welcome our guest of honor, Professor Francoise Barre-Sinoussi, the Director of the Regulation of Retroviral Infection Unit at the Pasteur Institute in Paris. Professor Barre-Sinoussi was awarded the Nobel Prize for Medicine in 2008, together with Professor Luc Montagnier, for their discovery of the human immunodeficiency virus or HIV. This discovery made rapid cloning of the HIV-1 genome possible, and most importantly, it led to the development of methods to diagnose infected patients and to screen blood products, which has limited the spread of the AIDS pandemic. Today, Professor Francoise Barre-Sinoussi will deliver a special lecture on the topic of future challenges in HIV/AIDS prevention and therapy. The combination of prevention and treatment has substantially decreased the spread of the disease and dramatically increased the life expectancy among millions of treated patients worldwide. As we are all well aware, today's world is unfortunately filled with so many conflicts. Many parts of the globe has battles between ethnic groups, faiths, and other differences, while fights against hunger, disease, and deterioration of global environment are still far from over. Therefore, today's topic is genuinely relevant and timely, helping us to understand how science could play a crucial role in promoting peace and understanding for mankind. May I take this opportunity to express my sincere thanks to the Faculty of Science, Mahidol University, and the International Peace Foundation for co-hosting this event, and wish you all the best for fruitful and enlightening presentations. At this point, I now declare to open this special event series of Bridges Dialogue of Culture for Peace with the special lecture in the topic of future challenges in HIV and AIDS prevention and therapy by Professor Francoise Barre-Sinoussi. Thanks for your attention.
Thank you, Your Excellency. May I now have an honor of inviting His Excellency to present a flower bouquet to express an appreciation to the keynote speaker. And may I now have a privilege to invite His Excellency Professor Dr. Kasem Watanachai, Professor Francoise Barre-Sinoussi, Professor Sakon Mongkonsuk, executives of Mahidol University to join in a photo session, please. Thank you, His Excellency and Excellencies. May I now have an honor of introducing the keynote speaker of this afternoon lecture. Professor Francoise Barre-Sinoussi received her PhD in virology from the Pasteur Institute and the University of Sciences in Paris in 1975. After a brief internship at the National Institute of Health in Bethesda, Maryland, she returned to the Pasteur Institute, where she is currently the director of the Regulation of Retroviral Infections Unit at the Pasteur Institute in Paris. As for her research work, Professor Barre-Sinoussi has been involved in retrovirology research since the early 1970s. She is recognized for her contributions to HIV/AIDS research, in particular as the first author of the publication in 1983, reporting the discovery of a retrovirus, which was later named human immunodeficiency virus, or HIV. In 2008, Professor Barre-Sinoussi was awarded the Nobel Prize for Medicine in 2008, together with Professor Luc Montagnier, for their discovery of the human immunodeficiency virus, or HIV. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Professor Francoise Barre-Sinoussi.
To the Faculty of Science and Mahidol University for hosting this conference today, and I would like also to express all my thanks to Uwe Morawetz for inviting me to come here in Thailand for this Bridges event. What I would like to do this afternoon is certainly to speak about the future challenge in HIV/AIDS prevention and therapy, but before maybe start by some of the history, because I think that history is important, in particular for the new students, the new generation of the future. They have to keep in mind the history for the future. Indeed, it was mentioned that I started myself my studies in universities in the 60s, at the end of the 60s. At that time, I must say that we were thinking that at the end of the middle of the 20th century will be the end of infectious disease. So my own interest at that time and curiosity and motivation was certainly not for infectious disease itself, but mostly for other human pathology. And at that time, at the end of the 60s, very early 70s, we were very interested in cancer and leukemia. So it's why I started really myself to work on retroviruses as a potential cause of cancer and leukemia. When I started, indeed, that was the years of the discovery of the reverse transcriptase, the enzyme that is used by retroviruses to divide into target